I love you. I couldn't like you or love you anymore. So, what we were talking about last time, what we were talking about last group was what our plans, what we're going to do, whatever. Now I really want to talk about how applying it, like how the coping skills that you could learn from here will get you through. And what are we trying to get through?
Our first thought.
Just one day.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like if we can just hold on for dear life and use some tools and get through the day, what do we got to do? We just got to do that tomorrow. And we just got to do that tomorrow. Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, well, that's the thing. When they listen, I promise you, when I was in treatment and they were like, Mike, one day at a time, I literally said to the guy, no shit. So show me the person that lives life 2 days at a time, and I'll talk to them. But no shit, it's one day at a time. But I really didn't understand that's what it meant. Like, this is what they're saying. Under no circumstances do you put drugs or alcohol in your body, and you do everything you can just to get through the day. That sounds, you know, it almost sounds like I'm making too much of this drug or alcohol thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not. Well, I'm not, because here's the thing. Some days are easier than others. Anybody in here know what, you know what I'm saying? Like, some days are easier than others. Why did we break on those days? Why did we break? Because we broke. We didn't. You said that you wanted to use a couple of weeks before, and you talked about it a little bit, but you kept
those reservations.
Kept the reservations, and then what'd you do? You excluded yourself from, you know, the AA and the sponsor and all that other stuff, which is.
And I had one stressful day, and I drove by a drug spot, and I was like, fuck it.
Yeah. So
my first thought was using instead of calling someone. And you know why? Because I wasn't putting. I stopped calling people probably 2 or 3 months before. I had a good practice of calling my sponsor every other day, but I would talk to somebody in recovery on the phone at least once a day. I had that going for me. And it was just muscle memory. I'm calling my buddy Eric, and I'm calling my sponsor and stuff like that. I stopped doing that, and if I would have kept doing that, my first thought probably would have been, I need to call somebody instead of, hey, crack cocaine. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing too. You were dealing with some heavy shit. Yeah. It's not like it was a broken shoelace. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were dealing with some heavy stuff. Some stuff that, after getting a year of sobriety and after going through some stuff, some real heavy shit that it was uncomfortable to bring up to people. You know what I mean? And then what happens usually when we're uncomfortable? What do?
Go back to
what it makes it feel good.
Yeah, and before we use, we run. First we run, then we use. Yeah, first we run, then we use. Because, guys, listen, we can talk about triggers all day. Music, people, places, and things, this, that, the other thing. Here's what a real trigger is. Uncomfortable. If we're uncomfortable, we want to get comfortable. We want to control it. We're not used to this. We're not used.
Possible.
Yeah, like quick, fast, in a hurry. Yesterday, and a lot of times, one of our triggers is being overwhelmed. Like, we feel like, man, things are going so good. I have to do this. I have to do that. Man, it's just too much for me. You know, and we whatever. So let's talk about someone like we're going to talk about coping skills. Someone tell me about the coping skills we're going to use in the first week, day, month, even year.
Well, one of my coping skills are playing basketball, singing, rapping, listening to music, singing and stuff.
Yeah, physical exercise, a hobby, whatever. But let's pretend it's a little bit more serious than that. That's a good thing to have, no doubt about it. But how about going to a meeting?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. No, don't be sorry. That's 100% acceptable. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, like, so, Forrest, when you first got out and you were first doing things, did you have a routine set time? I'm going to do meetings at 7 p.m.
Yes, I did. I was doing 11 o'clock Spring Branch Memorial Club every day.
Okay. And here's the thing. That's a great thing to do. It's great to have a meeting at 11. Do you always feel great at 5, 6, or 7 in the afternoon?
No.
But for some reason, we feel like, well, I got my meeting out of the way. I'm not going to go to another one. Like, that's just insane.
Well, I mean, but I was also in sober living, and like it revolved around the 12 steps, and I was always around people who were sober and working on sobriety, and so I'm just living AA while I'm in the sober living that I was in.
Well, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. How do you think it becomes muscle memory? How do you
Right.
think it becomes? But what I was
I was
saying
also
is,
not. Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was also not putting a time limit on anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't stressing about getting a vehicle. I figured, when it's time for me to get one will be, the time will be.
Sounds like
provided
you
for me.
had let go.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
lot.
I completely
Yeah.
surrendered on trying to take control of things I thought I needed in my life.
Yeah.
Job, fucking vehicle, moving out.
Wasn't it crazy how that shit just kind of
It fell into place when it needed to fall into place.
Dude, it really happens that way, and I know that's a hard thing for us to figure out because, guys, spoiler alert, way before we become substance abusers, we're control freaks.
Absolutely.
We want everything. We are putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle at all times, and we're trying to get those pieces in as fast as possible so it's perfect. What did you want to say?
Also, I was going to say, before I came to Great Oaks the first time, this facility, I was at the park, and I was 65 days sober because I had a sponsor. I called my sponsor, and then I would go to Post Oak Club. And
Great recovery out there, by the way.
So it was beautiful. And then we had a group chat called Litter Mates. We were texting the group chat. Oh, you going to a meeting today? You going to a meeting today? Yes. We would go to museums and stuff like that. That's what kept me sober. But relapse.
You fell off, and listen, it's part of the process. It's okay. And like I said last group, there's no shame in falling down. You just got to get back on that bike. And this is what I was kind of wanting to say though is, it's great to go to a meeting at 11. It's great to go to the Postal Club all the time. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're stressed out, aggravated, unhappy, your ass is falling off, it's okay to go to another meeting that day.
Yes, you can.
It's definitely okay to call some of the people, and it's but here's the thing, it'll seem like, well, I already went to a meeting today. Well, now that I've been hanging out with these guys and going to the museums and going to this, I don't want to look weak or I don't want to embarrass myself. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Really showing other people's strength.
That's
the strength.
Well, that's how ass backwards we are.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That's how ass backwards we are. What we think is a weakness is really a strength. You know what I mean? It really is, because you ever go to a meeting and someone say some real vulnerable, intimate shit, and you're like, yo, that's my guy or girl, whatever. You know what I mean? Hell yeah. You'll nod to yourself. You might even smile and say, that's real shit. They said this stuff that one, maybe we're afraid to say. Two, we're not even able to verbalize because we didn't even know we felt it. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? It happens all the time. Yes.
And also, sorry, Tom.
No, dude.
Also, when I was going to Posto, my sponsor named Raymond, he knew I was going through some shit and I was bullshitting. So they were literally how you say, kept me accountable, and it made me cry because we went through. He was telling me because I keep relapsing on the 4-step, and then as soon as he said the 4-step, I started breaking down crying, and he was like, "We need to get you some help." But I feel like I let them down, so it was just kind of fuck it. Everybody knew I was doing shit, and they were talking behind my back, so it was just fuck it. Stuff like that.
But do you really? Yeah, exactly. It's the way you were thinking. It wasn't how it really is.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they really care about you as a human being. And listen, anybody that does this for real, if they don't understand a relapse, if they don't welcome you with open arms, then they're not really being true to this.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Because there is no and that's why I was saying before to you, it's hard to have that much good sobriety and clean time and walk up into a meeting. It's humbling. It goes against, I don't want to feel stupid or look stupid or this, that, the other thing. But like I say, that's the type of stuff where you have to say, but if I'm trying to save my life, what other option is there? What other, because do not mistake what Forrest said before. This is not a lifestyle. This is a way to die. Sometimes quick, sometimes slow.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to be miserable and shitty in between. So if you're trying to save your life, or at the very least, if you don't even believe that, if you're trying to give yourself a better life, grab a hold of this thing and do it. Go ahead. I got you 1 second.
I know. I remember one time I went to the Postal Club several times, as you were there several times. I remember one time I went there, man, which really and a guy went in there one time. He had just lost his family in a car accident, wife, kids, killed in a car accident just that night. That night, and he went to the meeting, and I was like, fuck, that was.
Why do you? Let's be
mean,
real.
that
If
night-
he didn't go to that meeting, where do you think he would have went?
Used to just be down. angry.
He would have been in his fucking head.
Either got drunk, got high, or possibly blown his brain out,
Yeah.
or possibly blown. I mean, right?
Yeah, I was really, you know, impressed because you know,
Strength.
yeah, he showed.
And do you think he was showing some compassion and some love and some empathy
Oh
and
man,
some support?
Oh man,
Yeah.
big time, man. Oh yeah, big time.
And in an unbearable situation, it might have got him through. Because how does he feel? How does he feel if he goes and uses the next day? Let's talk about it.
Feel remorse, feel fucking that shame of fuck.
How could you
Feeling
feel
evil.
even worse after going through that? But you will.
Of course,
of course. Yeah. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah.
And we're talking about coping skills. I want to know the coping. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I found it humbling. People might think it's morbid the way I stay sober, but I feed off people that are in their addiction. I see that was me at one time. We had I was in Rice there. We had a new crime we was gonna pick up, and I was just coming back from VA. We went to this Greyhound bus station, and then they had this lady. She had by her top, by her height, this old lady, and the dress on like about rolled her in dirt. And they had this one young guy. He had a brand new pair of tennis shoes. He was trying to sell me as a rental shoes on the street. And the lady that was the driver for one race car, she had 10 years sober. I said, Vivian, that was me at one time. And that was to me, I said, I'm only one hit away, and one hit away from going back to that lifestyle. That just became my coping skill because I seen me in my addiction from other people.
Well, if you go to a meeting, what are you going to see? You're going to see people that have gotten better and have done better.
Yeah.
You're going to see people that are
Spirit strengthening?
Yeah, and you're going to see people that are fresh off the streets and coming through and struggling and coming in and out and stuff. Yeah, and that should be a reminder. Like, listen, I say this and I don't, like, here's the thing. I know what it's like to be in your seat 7 times, right? I don't ever want to be in your seat again. That doesn't mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I'll be able to make it out of there. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I take this so seriously.
Yeah.
But I get exactly what you're saying.
It's humbling to say that I was homeless. I slept on the ground. I slept on the underpass. I mean, I went to shelters where they didn't have no rooms. I slept in front of the front door. See, so I remind myself of that all the time.
Yeah.
I remind myself how sick. I mean, I would have the money to get a motel room, but I'd rather get high out of a motel room and sleep on the ground.
Hey, you know,
That's it.
Hold on. Well, he wanted to go, she wanted to go, and then I got you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we're talking about coping skills. I guess my coping skill would be for me to, just to stick with this program. I mean, I don't want, I guess I keep saying it all the time. I'm gonna be 60 years old next month, in a couple of weeks. But man, I'm getting too old for this shit, man. And so I don't want, and just learning about this shit, man. What the disease and how people are, how it fucks with your brain.
Yeah.
The brain shit. Man, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. When I was using them, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit. I just wanted to use, and I just wanted to do. But man,
So let me ask you something. So, because I like what Willie said, because one of Willie's coping skills is to go to meetings, because that's where you're seeing this, right?
Yeah.
Where do you think you're going to get reminded that you're sick, that it could be that bad? Going to meetings.
Going to meetings, you go to meetings, yeah, that's it.
Because that's what's so good about meetings. There could be somebody in there one day or 100 years, right? So like you just said before, Forrest, the whole spectrum of it. The whole, and listen, meetings and people in recovery, and it's just like your parents, and it's just like teachers at work and teachers at school. People can teach you 2 different things, the right way or the wrong. You know what I mean? When you see somebody in an AA meeting and you just know, like, all right, man. You know what I mean?
They say the same shit you've been
they
through right
make
here.
sense.
Yeah.
And most people, here's the thing too, when it comes to meetings, most people that are killing shit, they don't even really walk the walk, they're talking the talk. And they might talk that, you know what I mean? But they're not like running around just, spouting off. And you know what I mean? But you see the way you see the energy they bring. I mean, what's spirituality to people? Like, what would, like, if I said that's a real spiritual person,
the energy of the universe.
well, it's like almost like the energy they bring into a room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you can tell. Like, if somebody walked in right here that didn't have the right mindset and that didn't whatever, wouldn't we all kind of know, right?
Yeah.
And then if somebody that comes in here and they're really light and they're really free and they're really, you see that too.
It's annoying. It's annoying they possess.
it's like a glow around them with no glow.
It's
Yeah.
aura they possess, you know, and it's like they came out the other side and you can see it, how the other side really looks. Wow, I want something.
Well, it's funny that you say it, because you'll hear, and this is not an original, right? What's the difference between religion and spirituality?
In my opinion,
Well, hold on, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
Religion is for people that are scared to go to hell. Spirituality is for people that have already been there.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, they come out the other side, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's really what it is. And, you know, it's the coping skills, to go into the meetings, right? Having conversations. And here's the thing, even all the conversation, if you're going through, like you could be going through some family stuff, and maybe you don't want to share it with your sponsor, Forrest, or me, or something like that. But you have other family members to talk about it and say, man, she did, or he did, you know, and you just talk about it, and you try to have people that give you a different perspective. You don't want someone to just be like, man, you're right, you should punch that person in the face. You know what I mean? That don't ever get you nowhere, right? Like, you need, because this whole thing is a perspective. This whole thing, when I say process things and put it in the right perspective, we need to look at things the right way. Like when I was talking to you guys before, when you're watching the news, and I'm like, yo, that shit's just like, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time to sit there and get frustrated and aggravated and pissed off about shit you can't change. Yeah, shit you can't change. It's out of your control. So to get like, to let it affect your spirituality or the energy or your feelings or whatever, you're like setting yourself up for that shit. Nope, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with anything that ain't positive or funny or light or clean or good or whatever. And that's another way to keep your mind in the place. So someone give me another coping skill. Yes, Michelle.
So, I mean, this is personal to me. I don't know if it applies to anybody else. But I care a lot about what people think about me. And
Me too.
so, you know,
We all do.
I get overwhelmed, or I'm like, am I doing a good enough job? Am I good enough? All these things. And someone once told me, it is none of your fucking business what anybody else thinks of you. And so a coping skill for that would be like self-affirmations or writing down, you know,
Well,
like
well, here's the thing. Where did you get that other perspective from? Because you're in your head going, I can't believe she said this, and then beating you down, and you know they think this and you think that, and then someone else says to you because you shared it with somebody, man, it's none of your business. Well, who cares what they think? You know what I mean? Like, did you really? Because here's the thing. I think you should care what other people think, especially the people that you love and are close to you, right? But as long as you're clean with it, right? You didn't lie, cheat, or steal, or do them wrong. You know what I mean? So if they have, if they are, if they're not, if it doesn't feel like, if they don't like you, or if they don't like the things you do, well, you did your best by them.
Yeah.
I was just telling my daughter this today. I was just telling my daughter, because my daughter's doing real good. And one of her friends is a little bit jealous. And I'm like, listen, you gotta understand, some people aren't built for other people to be happy around them. You know what I mean? Like, it really might not even have anything to do with you.
Anything.
Yeah, it's not even you personally.
They're jealous.
It's they're jealous, and it's how they are. And she's like, well, it's not fair. And I'm like, I know it's not fair. I said, but when people show you who they are, you need to believe them. Because people are who they are for the most point. And if you're expecting, like say, like I had an older cousin that I used to really look up to as a kid, really, you know. And come to find out as I got older, he was like that. Like, you know, and I constantly set myself up to be let down and whatever. And I'm like, it was all on me. Me expecting him to be any different than he's always been my whole entire life, that was on me. And it took a long time to learn that. Why? Because I loved him and I looked up to him. I wanted things to be different and this and the other thing. But it's like, now when I look back on it, it was like, he was always a resentful, bitter, angry guy and didn't like me. And I didn't do shit to him. So what the fuck? Now we can eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Another coping skill I learned, which is really simple, but everybody get here, but they don't do it. People, place, and things. That shit is true. Because the people I used to use with, or the same people I used to hang out with, that never changed. So, I mean, it's so important not to set myself up and say, well, hell, I can handle it now, I've been sober for so long. Don't fall for that shit. Because that's a damn lie. That's what they should tell you. Because people place the things, when you left them doing the same thing they were doing, I guarantee you're still doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Hey, can I say something to that
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
It's funny how us as addicts can see the same thing in the town that we're in another town.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah, it's
and
everything.
we can identify where to get it from just by what we
Oh.
see going on.
No doubt about it. Listen, where I used to live in my neighborhood, New York and stuff like that, like, it was very close knit, and there used to be this deli over there, right?
Uh-huh.
And we'd be sitting out there, and we'd see people walk by, and we're like, they're going to cop. You know, they just have this pop in their step, like, all of a sudden,
They got that fucking
they're moving with a purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah. So
I
listen,
used to point them out all the time. My mom, like, see that person right there, he's just going to get dope.
he got money, he's broke.
That's funny.
So listen, how about this? What about these prayers that you hear in either church or
I'll
AA?
give me another focus.
Yeah, listen, tell them.
One is like just praying for serenity,
Yeah.
doing a serenity prayer, and another one is
Well, tell me
always
what
reminding
seems-
myself that Thy will
That
be
will
done.
be done. And that's what I was gonna say, the prayers
Taking
and
that
this
shit,
little
giving it up to something that you believe in bigger than yourself. It takes away so much stress and anxiety for me.
Well, like I said, the sayings and like all these little sayings, when you get clean and get sober, all these little, that one day at a time thing, like it was like 5 months in when the one day at a time thing made sense the way it should.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But listen, like the prayers, like someone, like serenity prayer, God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change,
Yeah.
the courage to change the things I can, and a wisdom to know the
And
difference.
that's precise.
I mean, like, what did I say when you were watching that shit before? And they were talking about this and that. I'm like, that's a serenity prayer all day
All
long.
day long.
You know what I'm saying? When I look at that shit, that's a serenity prayer because I can't control none of that. I know I can't control it, so I just don't want nothing to do with it.
And another thing about acceptance is very, very important. It is the key to my recovery. I accept the fact that I'm a freaking addict.
Well, let me ask you something. Why is acceptance such a big deal?
Because they ain't gonna be the way they are whether you're drunk or sober.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like acceptance is
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
big thing because it
yeah.
takes the control and the power and the manipulation away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good,
It
especially
forces you to be honest.
well, especially too. Like here's the thing, especially if you're dealing with some legal issues
Yeah.
or a divorce or a baby mother, or baby father, or
Yeah.
kids that are a little upset. It's like okay, like it ain't up to me. See, here's the only thing that's up to me. Get up, stay sober, do the best I can.
That's it.
That and that is 100% in my power.
That's right.
Other than that, control is an illusion. People,
Yeah.
places, and things, like you were saying before.
Yeah.
Why should you stay away from people and places and things? Because you got no control over it.
No control.
You got no control, and this ain't gonna happen very often, but it could happen. You're recovering from crack or heroin or alcohol or something. You might show up to these people, places, and things, and they hand you a large sum of it. Do you understand? And yeah.
You shut yourself up for fucking failure.
Yeah, exactly. So now, like, here's the type of stuff that, now that doesn't really happen on a regular basis, but it could happen. And
It could happen.
Well, especially in our drug world, they'll give you a look, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I got
oh,
that
shit,
first-
you think you're better than me? Here, take a
I
look.
showed up.
Because-
When I showed up with a dope spot, I got blessed my first time when I showed up. I showed back up and like, man, where the fuck you been?
Yeah, go. It's
Yeah.
First one's for free. Next one you're tricking.
This is an honest question, you know, this is something I told myself. I cannot be around nobody using, I cannot be around nobody drinking, because the idea of me seeing somebody that's doing crack will put me right in.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It will put me right in. It's just like you see somebody shoot up heroin. I mean, it's a feeling, it's like it comes back to you. Like you never been sober, you just back on track again.
You just hit the pause button.
You didn't pause, you hit the
Yeah.
pause button. See, that's why I said people play the thing is very fucking important.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
And here's the thing, when you get clean and get sober, you really, you know, recover from a hopeless state of mind and body, or you get restored to sanity. The trap house or the place where people hang out and get high, or even bars, for me, last place I want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here. Listen, I don't want to be around. Dude, do you understand? Like, my whole life, all I was around was drug dealers and drug addicts. Go figure.
Yeah.
Now, all I want to be around is people that are trying to be the best people they can possibly be.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not trying to be the best human being that you could be for your friends and your family and your kids and, you know, whatever. Like, yeah, if you're not trying to do that, we have nothing in common.
Yeah, I was told by my therapist in San Antonio, this disease is a disease of choice. It's a disease of choice. He said there's no gray area involved in it. It's a black and white. You use it, don't use it.
I I agree. I say you're either doing all the right things or none of the right
Yeah, none of the right
things. You
things.
can't be like,
Yeah.
you know, bullshitting
Yeah,
with this
yeah,
thing, because
bullshit.
eventually,
Yeah.
it's like what you said before, so you're just hitting the pause button. Eventually, you're just going, you're either doing all the right things or none of the right
And you know,
things. I agree.
And then you tell me if I'm uncomfortable, I'm growing.
Yeah,
But if I get comfortable, that's my danger zone.
yes, I
That's
say
my
it all the
danger.
time. If you're comfortable, especially in early recovery,
Yeah.
you're doing it wrong.
Doing it wrong.
Listen, guys, the first year is gonna be so fucking uncomfortable. And it's gonna be painful and miserable at times, and uncomfortable, and really happy very little times, but
Yeah.
whatever. But here's the thing, that's when you know you're growing.
Mhm.
It's growing pains. Do you understand what I'm saying? You'll
Yeah.
grow more in the first year, but you need to. Because if you're in your comfort zone, you're doing it wrong, you're headed for trouble.
Yeah,
So we have the serenity prayer, right? And I want her to read the acceptance prayer, because I'm glad you brought it up. Because if you listen to this prayer, it basically breaks the whole thing down to life is not about if I had this, if that, if he would do this, if she would do this, it's about is. And the faster I accept is, the happier I can be. Because if I'm living in if, nothing's ever good enough. Am I wrong? If I'm living in is, I realize I never had it so good. Go ahead, please read it.
Okay. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me, and I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and in my attitudes.
That's right.
I mean,
That's plain and simple.
listen, when I was in Texas and I'm going through my divorce and I'm away from everybody and things aren't going the way see, I had to read this one more. The Serenity one I knew right up, because of a 50 Cent song, I knew the Serenity prayer before I even came into this shit. But this right here, I used to read that. I used to read that on a regular basis, and I'd say, wait, life is not how you have it, it's how it is.
Yeah.
And the faster you accept that, the faster you can get on to, like, worrying about other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because as an addict, I don't like change. I want to speak for myself.
No, I think that's all of us.
I don't like change.
Well, why don't we like change? Because what's that saying?
we're comfortable.
We're
Oh yeah.
Fear.
Because my
We're afraid it's going to be worse.
My dad gave me an analogy one time. He said, you walk a path constantly every day of the week, year by year. It comes comfortable to you. But if you told to go a different path, where you got to go with rocks, tall grass, everything, you got to maneuver your way through. That's change. And then you find really different things about it, you go in a different route. So that's where he told me that my addiction is 10%. The drug and alcohol is 10% of my problem. It's the way I carry myself through life.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Listen what I'm about to say. There's black, white, older, younger, different economics in here. The one single thing, and I'm going to talk about every single human being on planet Earth. The one thing that we all have in common is that we're all going to go through some pain. Now, how you deal with that pain is
Yeah.
going to map out the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, because a person, man or woman, is who they are because of what they go through.
Yeah.
But if you're drinking or getting high and not going through stuff, you're just dragging that shit along with you. You never get an opportunity to grow from it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like here we are, we're stuck in this limbo. Do you understand? That's what I was saying the other day in that group, like, for all my vets in here, and for all my people that have had sexual assaults, and all my people that have been through some really or worse shit, when you process it, talk about it, deal with it, put it in its right perspective, and then one day help someone else get through it, you gave the most fucked up thing in your life some decent meaning. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you have actually taken the power back a little bit. Because here's the thing, whatever you guys have been through, here's the fucked up part, you've already been through it. Like, you've already been through it. So to not deal with it and process it and get coping skills and go through it, you're letting it destroy and defeat you when it doesn't have to be like that.
Right.
Because what, like I was saying before, whatever anybody's been through in here, there are people out there who have been through worse and that have made it through the other side. You know what I mean? And what did they do? They just deal with it in a sober and healthy, proper way. They went and got, counseling, and they did AA, like they just did what, and here's the thing, they did what someone told them to do. Most people didn't have this shit in their back pocket. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like they were humble and smart enough to take advice from other people. Like here's the thing, I don't know about you, but the household and the neighborhood and the school I went to and everything, like healthy coping skills wasn't like a class that I went to. You know what I mean? I was just going through life, doing the best I could with the information and the tools that I had. Unfortunately, it says it right in the doctor's opinion that we were maladjusted to life. I was maladjusted to life, which means I was badly adjusted. You know what I mean? I wasn't a healthy, well-adjusted human being. I mean, and here's the mess of thing. In certain cases, I could do something right. You know what I mean? But this stuff, especially the drugs and alcohol thing, this is something that I could not do on my own. I needed help. And there's no shame in that.
There's that older guy, that older guy that comes to the AA from outside meeting.
Gordon with the white hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, good guy, dude.
I walked in on this dude talking, man, and he told my freaking story. This guy got 37 years sobriety. I said, man, I walked up to him after the blue. I said, man, I need to be my freaking sponsor. He said, when we were talking that time, I told him, he came hunt me down.
Yeah, he came 2 hours early.
He came hunt me down. Because people like that, I know what it takes to stay sober. I want to know what 30 years, you had to see some shit. You had to allow shit to happen and to just let it go, So I respect the people that got that much time. I respect that. Because this shit ain't easy.
No.
It ain't easy by a long shot. You know what I'm saying? And you got somebody got 30 years, man, my ears are wide open when they get to talking. I mean, I'm like, I take the cotton out, I take the cotton out of my ear and put it in my mouth. Yeah, it's easy,
So that's another good coping skill.
Yeah.
We're going to take advice from other people. People that have been in the hole and climbed out.
Yeah.
So what else? All right, and we said before, way to go. We said before physical and, sports and rapping and everything else that we said. Good.
You really mentioned this, I'll go back a little bit, like a sober living place. For, transportation, whatever you need.
Support from other people.
And get in the routine to do what. For me, that's what has worked.
Yeah.
Like, in the past and stuff, but I don't have to go to a sober living house because I got transportation, I got a house, I got a spot, but I didn't have those things before, and the transition thing out of here, hey, kicked my butt a few times.
Listen, because here's the thing, if you think that you're gonna be a drug addict and alcoholic for however many years, and come into a place like this for 30 days, and then go right back to your same people, places, and things, and job, and people around it. Here's the thing, our families could be our biggest triggers, even though they're not using, even, you know what I'm saying? So you go right back to this, you go, and not even intentionally all the time, but you go right back into the same environment where everything looks and feels and acts the same, and the only thing you're not doing is getting high. At what point does it not almost become instinctive? Like everything around you reminds you of getting high and drinking and acting crazy.
All the fucking time when I was fucking out there. Even when I was, in the beginning, I was doing like what Willie was doing. I'd see fucking corners where I flew a sign at, and fucking people, I thought, man, I just fucking buy dope from that dude. I don't live that life anymore, And then finally, it caught up to me, and I didn't even fucking think about how bad that was. I was buying dope from fucking right next to the underpass. I used to fucking fly a sign and sleep under it. And because dude, I don't even know how that fucking happened that fast. It's just, it fucking happened, man. And everything reminded me of, just even fucking corner stores or signs was without even fucking hesitation.
Yeah.
And I was in a bad spot, and then boom.
So here's the thing, like we were talking about prayers, coping skills and prayers and this and that. Here's the thing, and this is another one. To get something you never had, you gotta be willing to do stuff you've never done, right? What's something you've never done? Maybe we've never done the sober living. Maybe we've never done this. If you think that you're just gonna get out of here and do everything the same and just not get high, you're sadly mistaken.
No,
Yeah,
no.
you need to do something different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I found out after I came out, I spent 90 days in ICU, and my wife passed away before I got home. I didn't find the basement, I hit the bottom, then I found the basement. I found the only thing that's keeping me sober today is humility. A lot of guys don't really understand, your ego will keep you in your shit.
Oh, your ego is not your ego. Your
Yeah,
ego is trying to
yeah,
kill you.
yeah.
Your ego says don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Your ego says don't share it.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, like you were talking about, sober living. Man, I'll tell you something. You humble enough and ask for help, they'll come at you so goddamn quick. You know, people, we got these resources full of.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is come and tell me, hey, I need
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Throw your
It's
hand
like,
up.
I don't know what I'm doing. I told
Right.
him, I've been here for years. One time, someone walked through those doors and I was telling him you gotta do this. He's like, Mike, I don't care. He's like, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. Everything I do gets me one. You know what I mean? And I said to Jarvis, I said, this motherfucker's gonna make it.
I see it here today, and I seen it yesterday and the day before that, where people here help out each other. So it, what's that saying? Iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
You know, is that part of the process? Would you say?
What, people helping each other?
You know, the sharpening part is going through
Well,
everything.
I don't know exactly, I haven't heard that as applied to AA and the big book and stuff like that. But like, I mean, we're only as good as each other. You know what I mean? Like you'll hear Gordon say it all the time. I get drunk. We stay sober. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like, and it'll say it in the book, like, I would say, like, there's no therapeutic value than one alcoholic/drug addict, whatever, talking to another. Why? You ever hear the story? There's a guy, he's stuck in a hole. A guy walks down the street, it's a doctor. The doctor goes up to the guy and says, hey, make you do A, B, C, and D, and you'll be fine. The guy does that, he's not fine. A priest walks in. He says, hey, man, you need to do this and do that, and you'll be fine. He does this and that, and he's fine. And then someone like me or you walks by, and he says, hey, man, move over. You hop in the hole, you say, I've been here, I'll show you the way out.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
That's the thing. Like that, we know what it's like. We know what we did. It says rarely have we seen a person fail. And Bill said I would change the book. I write never, because if you literally do everything the book says, and the first step, well, that's exactly it. They never say you're going to be done, but the first step says I am powerless over drugs and alcohol. So that means under no circumstance do I put any drugs or alcohol in my body, and then I work the rest of the steps, and I use the rest of the skills, and I pray, and I meditate, and I do everything I'm supposed to do. Not only will you stay sober, you'll get better, do better, be happy. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you have to do it. Like, expecting it to happen for you is not going to do it. This is a spiritual program of action, which means you got to put pen to paper, put foot on the ground, and move and do it. And you either moving like you're trying to save your life, or you're bullshitting. That's it. Like me and Willie were talking about before, right? Like there's no half-stepping. You're either moving like you're trying to save your life, or you're bullshit. You know? So that's, I mean, what do you want to do? I say all the time, like, what are you willing to do? What do you want to do? What do you want the legacy to be? How much do you want to stop living life miserably? Is it okay? Listen, anybody in here okay with going out like that and dying a drug addict or an alcoholic?
No,
of course not.
I am not.
My biggest fear is dying in my addiction.
Yes.
That's my biggest fear.
Yeah.
I'm a well
Becoming a
dedicated.
John
I'm
Doe.
that better. That's how I want to be remembered when I fucking die. Not this fucking drug addict, fucking psycho.
Well, here's the thing. You will be. You will go out like, you know, as a well-decorated war veteran. You know what I mean? But if you die a drug addict, it's going to be, oh, man, it's a shame he couldn't beat this, or he let this overtake him, or he had so much potential, but, or this and that.
I don't want to be a butt.
Yeah, no, I know. No, that's, I mean, listen, you may say this all the time, it takes anger at this thing.
Yeah.
You need to be mad at this disease. You need to accept the fact that you have an illness and a disease, and that your brain is trying to kill you, And the only way that you can beat this is with help and to be humble enough to take the help and to take the direction. Because if you think you're gonna, like I say all the time, like if we could have done it ourselves, we'd have never met.
Yeah.
Right? Come on. You're a fucking combat vet. You guys are, I mean, the shit that we can do on our own, if we could have did this on our own, we would have. Exactly.
I consider this disease my enemy.
You need to.
I consider my enemy. By all means necessary, I'm gonna kick his ass.
Yeah.
You know, that's what my mindset is all the time. Because it'll kick my ass so that long. And I don't think it's ready. Because this is when I start feeling good, that's when something's breaking up on my head.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Once you sleep, I say this all the time. This disease is like Bill Cosby. You know why? Because the minute you sleep on it, it's gonna fuck you. That's a fact. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm gonna make you a drink.
Oh, shit, that's good.
Am I wrong?
No,
You
absolutely.
sleep on this thing for 1 second, you're gonna be like, how the fuck did that happen?
Can I use that one?
Go ahead, take it. It's an original. I don't care. One lady got mad at me one time, that's why I stopped saying it. I was like, come on, I'm just kidding. I mean, I say stuff like that because I'm thinking maybe you'll remember that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like maybe you'll remember that and say, oh shit. And really,
It's like-
that's how serious. See, that's the thing. And here, guys, don't take this the wrong way because I get it. When I was in your seat, I never knew how serious and deadly this disease was. I was sitting in this seat last time, not this exact seat, but in the treatment center, having overdosed twice in the week before I went, and I still didn't understand. See, I only understand how serious and how because I've learned about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because to me, I didn't know. Now that I know, that's why I'm trying to put you guys on. See, here's the thing. This is how we are, right? If I knew right now that there was an app that you could download on your phone, and you'd have to do some crazy shit to download on your phone. It's not gonna steal your shit or nothing, but you'd save $1 on gas, you'd want me to teach you exactly how to do that, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, I want to know it. I do not want to be the one that's left out and don't save $1 on gas. I'm trying to give you the key to life and the key to happiness and how to be happier and more productive and more useful than you've ever been. And you guys are like, I'm not sure.
That's priceless.
I don't know, man. I think I could do better myself. And here's the thing. I don't know shit. All I know, like, even I hear the nicest, Mike, you say this, Mike, these words are not Mike's words. This is because Mike got out of the way and God, like I let God in. Do you understand what I'm saying? When I'm talking this shit, it's all God shit. It's all God and positive and spiritual and powerful shit that like has nothing to do with me. The only thing that has to do with me is I got out of its way. Do you understand? I got out of its way. Because 5 years ago, if you'd asked me to teach a group and tell people about some shit, all I would have been able to teach about is how to do drugs or sell drugs or hire lawyers or get out of trouble or, do you understand? That's all I knew. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I knew anything about. Teach how to fight maybe. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. No, that's it. I didn't know anything.
Yeah, I get it.
I stopped getting in my own way and this shit just filled me. It filled me. Shit makes sense. I have conversations with Amy and Patrick about mental health and this and that. I never went to any of the classes they went to or anything like that. And I can hold my own just because I get it, because I understand it, because it's. Do you understand?
Right, it's something you kind of went through.
Yes, exactly. And I was surrounded by, you know, I was surrounded by crazy people, and I got to know them, and I see it, and I see how, like, as human beings, like, for the most part, we're all just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
Especially the people that are sitting in this room. I know when I was sitting in this room, I didn't want to be a sorry piece of shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? But that's what I was. And I wasn't a piece, I felt like I was a piece of shit. And I was the sorriest motherfucker you ever met. You can see the sorry all in my eyes. You know what I mean? Right. And that was none of my intentions. I didn't want to be that. Did you want to stop? Like, did you want to, like, do you understand what I'm saying? I know what it's like to, like, really, really, really want to do all the right things, but for some reason, the wrong things come out.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, guys, we're not running around with life making 100% of the wrong decisions all the time. No, we're good 90%ers. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're going out there, we're doing the right thing 90% of the time, but the goddamn evil giving us. Self-will run right. And the best way to look at that is self-will. Just imagine, whether it's your first time in treatment, or you've been in jail one time, or 10 times, whatever it is, your best thinking got you put there. Like, cause we are we are constantly maneuvering and trying to make the best move possible, cause like I said before, building on control freaks, we're like playing chess at 100 miles an hour, trying to put the board in, you know what I mean? And then somehow we wind up in jackpots over and over and over, right? So my point is, all I did was get out of my way, start taking some advice. I mean, all that is a template on how to cope with life. How are you gonna cope with life? Get down on your hands and knees, humble yourself, pray, say, God, thank you for keeping me sober yesterday. Please keep me sober today. Please reveal yourself to me. Please give me an opportunity and I'll walk through that door. Whatever it is, just pray that shit. Pray like from your heart.
Let go and let God.
And let go and let God, which means when someone comes to you, like Patrick or Amy or this or that, and says, hey, maybe you should do this, you don't say, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to get an apartment on an apartment right next to a strip club and a whatchamacallit. I'm going to have some fun. You understand what I'm saying?
Liquor store.
Yeah, exactly. And a job at a liquor store. Like, you know what I mean? They're paying me $20 an hour. No, like, just because, guys, I always say this, who believes in God? Everybody puts their hands up. And then I say, do you believe God works with people? And you guys say yes. So I'm saying, I'm telling you, when you leave here and while you're here, God's going to be whispering the right things to do. Can you hear it? Are you willing to do it? Are you humble enough to say, okay, it doesn't sound like, wait, Jimmy, it doesn't sound like it's going to work. But like I say all the time, I'd rather listen to you guys and you be wrong than listen to me and me be wrong again. You know what I mean? All right, guys, go do what you're going to do. Thank you.
Are you leading the 7 group too?
No. It's the outside.